Hi, I'm Kay from CamperVan-K. This is a cuppa with Kay. Enjoy. I'm going to make a cuppa. But I've had a little bit of a change around. I know it looks like a load of wires hanging around, which I'm going to solve soon. It is really, really hot. I've tried this little fan and it's crap. I thought perhaps it would give me a little bit of cool air coming in, a breeze or something. But unfortunately, like all little things you try, there's a little tiny bit of a breeze, not much. I just need it a little bit bigger than that. So if you have any ideas, give them to me because I need them. Right, I'm going to make a cup of tea, so that means getting the cup out and this. And it's a bit difficult. Seems just not enough room, headspace to pull it out. Right, I know I've got my gas canister in there. And my tea and my coffee and everything, which is down there. So, should we struggle to get it out? Tea. Oh, good. My citronella candle, just to keep the bugs away. Wrap this up. I've got enough in there. Yeah. You know what? This teaspoon has been with me since the 1970s. Just something my dad had. Tesco Demara sugar, that's what I prefer, the brand. Need to move over. Not any problem in it. Just have to get used to it. Right. You know what I've been thinking? I kind of think, why do people like me do videos like this? And sometimes I think there is no point to it. But then I think, sometimes it uplifts people. They've got something, to either laugh at or joke about, or just, I don't know. Put that up there. Kettle. Forgot the water. Easy, you just got to move things, that's all. And I know that these videos are not perfect quality. They're just a little video diary. And what I urge everybody to do is keep a diary of your own. That's right. And then put it in a box, a tin box or something. Excuse me. And bury it like a time capsule. You know why? I think at some point in the very near future, our culture, our society, this Britishness is going to disappear. And while, some people might think, oh, that's a good thing, because what did we ever do? Except pulverise every nation we came across. You could say it's a good thing, and that British Empire is finally coming to an end. Good riddance to it, they might say. Well, I've seen online that many different cultures do feel that way about the British until they actually come across real life people from Britain who they find to be benevolent, kind, intelligent, hardworking. I read an article the other day about the Italians. I don't know if you know, but a few years ago in Sicily they were offering houses for £1. I wanted to buy one. But then there was a catch involved. You had to invest at least 70 grand to get it up to scratch. And while I wasn't able to afford it, many other people were. And good on them, because the local Italians were finding that their little towns, their little villages were just disappearing. All the older people were dying off, and the young people thought, what's there here for us? There's nothing. So they buggered off to the cities, which ordinarily is all very good for them. But then that leaves a little dying village, and the history of the place just kind of disappears. And it's so sad to see, because it's happening in our country now. Probably all the people who've bought all the places in Sicily have gone from here. And get some milk. Didn't want a big one, but it's the only one they had left. Well, they had several of these, but none of the little ones. And I only... Oh, shit. This is why I want a small one. It don't pour properly. I'll get milk everywhere. And you know what milk does when it goes sour? I could have just had apple juice. I should have just had apple juice. But I've changed everything around, and now it feels... I don't know where everything is. I've got milk all over that now. Oh, let's put that over there. Yeah, it's strange times we're living in at the moment. We can't have any pride in our own country. We can have pride in somebody's sexuality, which I don't want to know about. Keep it behind closed doors. No. People have been able to push this agenda because of the benevolence of people. There you go. A little bit better. It's not very comfortable here. I might have to turn it all round again. Well, that's good and right, and we should accept everybody and not bully people. Now, what started off as something that was kind and thoughtful has turned out to be, to everybody else's detriment. And I think that's so bad. Because it's kind of forcing through an issue where you're not allowed to say anything. And I woke up in a bloody sweat the other night thinking, Cara, I could be sued for whatever, just for saying something that's true to my heart and yet offends somebody else. That's surely your feelings are getting hurt because of what I'm saying, but you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to hear it. Just turn it off. Switch it off if you're offended. I get offended by other people, but I don't go and make a song and dance about it. Maybe that's what I'm doing now. Don't know. I'm not suing anybody. I'm not taking to court or anything, am I? But there is a growing trend of, you know, how can I say this? It's a growing trend of everybody leaving their own countries, going off somewhere else. But the trouble is, just like Florida and California, all the Californians are leaving their county, their state, because they don't like what's happening, and yet they're the ones who voted it all in. And they don't see it. And now they're going to take all their thoughts and their ideas and everything that they want over to Texas. And Texas is very much a man's country. And good on them. So all these Californians are going off to Texas are going to take all their ideas with them. All the things that they're running away from in California, they're going to take that with them to Texas. Instead of just standing their ground and saying, no, this isn't what we wanted. Stop it. You're out of a job. Instead of doing that, they just leave. Which is stupid because they're leaving a trail of bloody dust behind them. And anybody who leaves their own country is just a coward. And I know I could end up dead. But this is a beautiful country. You see it time and time again. The people in it are nice. They're good, hard-working people, as the Italians have found out. Sicilians have found out. They've brought those little villages alive. You know, they've brought them back to life. I don't know if you can hear this or not. I hope you can. I've got a lovely cool breeze coming through there. And it's not such a bad view when I open the door, but tomorrow morning they're going to have a load of pop-up tents in the morning, selling little bric-a-brac, which is quite nice. And I should possibly get one and promote my, my counselling. And I'll have to get a trailer, won't I? But then I have to get I haven't even got a tow bar. That's what I was thinking though. So I'll have to stuff it all in here. Which, one of those things I think takes up a lot of room. And that's barely room enough for me in here. I'm in two minds of whether to sell my van or not. My big blue one. Because even though I'm getting to like this one, I'm only thinking that I'm getting to like it because you know how these people get to love their prisoners? Can't remember what it's called. I'll put it down in the description. But I'm getting to love this. Even though it's tiny. I try to make myself just live nights in it. Say from 8 o'clock in the evening until 7 o'clock in the morning. That way I can just get into the van, watch something on my mobile phone like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and I normally end up watching loads of YouTube. You lot. Because you're much more entertaining, educational and enlightening than films are, because films are pretty bad lately. Anyway, yeah, that's what I do from 8 o'clock in the evening until 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I go to work and where I rent this cabin. But I have been looking around at rental properties, and while I did manage to find one that I loved, I'll tell you about it. I'll put the I'll intersperse it with this video. I found a beautiful cottage. It was lovely and I really wanted it, and I said to them, yes, I want it. When can I move in? And I phoned up the landlord and he said, oh, you sound like the ideal tenant, because I said I'm a mature woman, I'm quiet, I look after the base, I look after the garden as well, and I'll keep everything spotless, and anything that goes wrong I'll make sure that it gets fixed, and I always pay my bills. And he said, yeah, you sound like the ideal tenant. And 2 days later, I found out I'd given it to somebody else for £100 more. So it's like gazumping while renting. That's so. And then the estate agent sent him an email and me, copied me in on it, saying I think number 2 is available, which is next door. So I think you ought to really offer Kay first refusal because of what happened. So I arranged to meet the estate agent. I went round there, I saw it all, loved it. I said, but the back window is smashed, needs to be replaced. The floor in the living room is stained to buggery, so that needs to be cleaned. I'm not getting the blame for that. And there's tiles in the front hallway that are scuffed to I don't know what. They're really beautiful tiles, and they just haven't looked after them. And then in the kitchen there was a hole in the wall. And it's not a bank teller cash point machine. No. So I said, provided that work's done, then yeah, I love it. And I know that landlords do the work. And then I gave him another option. I said to the estate agent, look, if he can't get the work done, I'll move in the next couple of weeks, and I'll do the work, but I'll just send the invoices to him. You would think that would be all right, wouldn't you? No. 2 days later again, he gave it to somebody else. And I thought, am I not meant to be living in a house? I mean, I needed it so that I could, just feel like a real woman again. But as I woke up this morning, I got ready to travel back because I looked after my friend again who's going to hospital. And travelled back, and I saw these pubs on the way, on the route. I thought, should I stop in there? No, it was closed. I'm an introvert. I don't like it when I see people coming around me. Anyway. But then I'll go out there and quite happily talk to them. I say, hi. Yeah, I'm Kay. Who are you? But, losing track. Yeah, I was going past all these pubs and I was looking around thinking, they're all closing. And half the ones that I'd been in and had lunch in, the lunch was awful. The meal was just crap. I mean, I went to lunch with my friend the other day. He had fish and chips, I'll put a picture. And I had pie and mash. And it was a nice posh pub called the Broadface in Abingdon. And it looked lovely. It was beautiful surroundings. The waiter was really polite, waiter barman type person. Did both jobs. Sweet boy. He'd hate me calling him that, I guess. But to me, all these young lads are boys now. He was polite, he was kind, he was courteous. He was on the ball about everything. The food came out. Oh my goodness, we had high hopes for that one. Bob could count the chips. There was 11 chips. And then when I'd got halfway through my meal, I had a chicken and mushroom pie, and I could only get to the chicken that was one, I think about 2 fingers thick, I think it was, at the back of the pie where I was just getting to, and all the rest was mushroom. I will have to find a way of finding some nice places. If you've got any nice places that's between the triangle, that is the M40, the M4, 5. But yeah, anywhere within that corridor, if you know of a nice little pub that I can either stay overnight at B&B, nice wise, it's not too expensive, that serves nice meals and has good staff, let me know, because I could meet you there, or I could go there on my own and have a nice meal and stay in this overnight. And I'll be happy. So what counties are we talking about? Oxfordshire to Worcestershire, Shropshire, Gloucestershire, Somerset, Wiltshire, Hampshire, Buckinghamshire and Berkshire, around those areas. They're the areas that I travel around quite often. I do still want to do my trip, my spiritual line, but whether that's going to be possible or not, I don't know. That was a nice cup of tea actually. I think I'll have another one. Last time I did this, it blew up. Oh, I wish I'd had that on tape. I must have not had the gas canister in the plate properly, or pinned in properly, because I could smell it, and I thought, what's going on here? And then when I turned it on, it went bang. Yeah, I've had a thought about these pubs closing. They're all closing as millions of houses are being built. So why is that? I mean, this is a country that's built on its pubs. We, in the old days, they were the pubs that people had rest in, like Traveller's Friend, Halfway House, that sort of thing. They were all, give it a minute. They were all places where your horses and carriages could stay overnight. Your horses could be stabled and you could stay in the bed overnight and have a drink and a meal and have a rest. And that's why they were nearly all on main roads or in the centre of villages opposite churches. But now they're all closing. And you know what I see? This little pattern forming. It's really weird, because I did say to somebody and they thought I was weird that when I see things forming, it's like I'm looking up at the midnight sky and I'm seeing all the stars, and all the stars are being joined together by a little laser beam. And that's the way I see life happening. Even though I'm not verbally saying this properly to you and I'm waffling on, but I'm just conscious of all the road noise and people going by and people around me. I think that this country, if you look at it, we are preparing ourselves for the accommodation of another culture. You think about it. All our animals are being slaughtered in a certain way. The meat that's available on the shelves always says it's a certain type of meat. That culture doesn't drink. And our culture is declining. People are moving away, not having babies. Or if they do have babies, it's just one or two. And another culture is being brought in. It's not their fault. I know it's not their fault. I mean, we have got a mixture of people in this country now for the past, I don't know how many hundreds of years. And I'm talking about all cultures. It's been a melting pot in our country, and it's been lovely because you've got such a variety of people and family structures and the way people see things that it makes you more broad-minded and more tolerant and patient with people, because you have to learn their ways as well as your own. But we have got an influx to a dangerous level of a completely different culture, which, while we have loads and loads of that culture already here, putting it in the water bottle, this is the way I see it. Our culture, our people, are seeing this is happening, and they can only see doom and gloom ahead. And so what we are doing is getting out of the cities, getting into places like this, little van life, so you can get a little bit of freedom, because you can't afford to have a house or a flat anymore. The rents have gone up astronomically, which is so unfair, because the mortgages haven't gone up over the years, and some people even paid off their mortgages. So what they're getting is just absolute pure profit. And that's so unfair that they have to keep making it rise. They should keep it at a certain level and help people during this horrible time. Lower the rent. You haven't got a mortgage to pay, lower it. Just for a certain amount of period of time, so that you can help people. Because eventually you won't have any money if you carry on increasing the rents, just like I can't. These people who took the cottages that I was promised offered more money. How ridiculous is that? it wasn't even worth the money that they were asking for. All I can hope is that they're going to wreck the place. I don't want to do that because I don't want to wish ill on anybody. But what they've done to me, you know, I was in my mind, I was planning out the little garden, even a little greenhouse, the second one, number 2, and it had a little storage place. I was going to put all my store stuff in there. I had enough place for my van, both my vans to be parked. I was going to sell my blue van from there. At the moment it's a bit awkward trying to sell it from where it is. Need more sugar. I struggle to go and get the sugar out again now. So the people can see it. Something is happening. They're moving away from their beloved country, this green and beautiful land. Good people, honest, hard-working, loyal. Some people might be saying, what planet are you on? But I have met, even though I've had such a shitty couple of years, I know that many people have, but mine's being compounded by the fact that my family have turned out to be the people who I thought they never would be. I don't know why, but I have to deal with that, and it's hard, but you just have to let it go. Okay, so yeah, people are moving out of their own countries and trying to find a little cabin somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Trouble is, there's only so many of those around, and you've got to be careful, because if you're in a little cabin all on your own in the middle of nowhere, who's going to come to your rescue when the bad men come, eh? You're going to be on your own. You're going to have to settle up a load of booby traps and get, you know, really artful with those weapons. Some people are setting up communes, little community groups in the countryside, buying land and building a community, which I can't seem to find one. I want to join one. But one thing about that is that if you're all together, I remember Game of Thrones, did you see that? I liked him. Massive guy who used to protect the king. And he joined this village, this little group of people who were religious, and I think religious, but they were trying to make it on their own. And even he got dismayed when they were all killed. And that's the problem, when you grow in a group like that, you have to be able to have something or some element of savvy about you. You can't think that everybody's going to be benevolent. You've got to think somebody's going to attack us at some point, so you've got to protect yourself. Some people might say, oh, but if you've got that in your mind, then you'll bring it about. There's several things that I've not had in my mind that I never even thought would be possible, and yet they happened, and they're really horrible. Life, it is a roller coaster. Sometimes I think I just want to get off it, because I'm so tired of it sometimes. For me, my life has been like wading through mud, a massive muddy puddle right up to my chest, and I did that once in the TA, so I know how that physically feels. Now I know how it feels emotionally, and I've been finding that I've been putting comments on people's YouTube videos that I know that they've got it wrong. I know I'm not the be all and end all of everything. I know that I get it wrong sometimes. But okay, let me give you a scenario. People always think that thoughts come before your feelings. Well, they don't. You think of it this way. Alright. Anytime, say, you're cut up in traffic, what happens? You don't think words. That's not the first thing that ever happens. The very first thing that happens is this ugh in your stomach, and your heart goes racing. That's a very split second of it, but you feel that first, and then you start thinking. It was called Ellis's ABC. It's activating agent, the belief, and then the consequences. That's the way they do it. Get off my tea. Where's my little candle? So what that means is something happens, say somebody cuts you up in the traffic, your belief kicks in, which means your thoughts. You think, fucking bastard, get out of the way. And the consequences happen, which means, or, well, they are putting the thoughts, which is the belief, before the consequences, which is the emotion, the action that you take, the reaction or the response that you make. Well, flip that around, okay. What normally happens is that something happens, somebody will cut you up in the traffic, and you'll think very first thing that you experience is a knot in your stomach and your heart was racing. And then you start verbalizing, because the very first thing that you think, okay, is fear, scared, because that thing has just happened. Your body is reacting before your thoughts are kicking in. It's like if a big tiger comes after you, and like if a big bear comes right up behind me, or if I'm walking down a dark alley and a ghost comes and attacks me, what's happening to me? My emotions are there first before my thoughts are. My body reacts. It wants to run. I don't think, oh, there's a tiger coming. What should I do? Oh no, let's step away from the tiger. That's all right if there's bars in the way, or a nice big glass wall. But not if you're faced with it. So what happens is there's another little model. It's called a pet. Now you can think of it two ways. A pet that you can cuddle and keep and love and whatever, and look after and train, or it's an ape coming for tea. Okay, so one is a reaction and one is a response. The ape is the reaction, the pet is the response. Okay, because a response is considered and thought out and logically dealt with. A reaction is dealt with through your emotions, because you're just angry in the situation, or fearful. And what happens when you're fearful or angry? This thinking brain shuts down. You don't think when you're in danger, you just run or freeze, or you want to fight. Fight, flight, freeze. So it's the activating agent, okay, then a pattern match, because your brain thinks from the first time something like this happened, or you saw it on the television, and your emotions kicked in, you're thinking, brain pattern matching. And when that brain pattern matches back to that situation, it gives you an emotion relevant to the situation that you're in. So you could say, there may have been another, like a woman who was shouting at me before I trained myself to accept the fact that people are all different and their emotions are nothing to do with me. I would have crouched down, hunched over, been sad or cried even, and felt fearful as consequences. Now though, I've learned to deal with these things in a different way. After having thousands and thousands of clients over the past 20 odd years, 10 years of that with the military, and you can imagine the situations that I had to deal with then. Okay, so you've got activating agent, then you've got the pattern match, and then you've got the emotion kicking in. And then comes the thought, because once the emotion cools down, once the fight, flight, freeze mechanism is kicked in, you then begin to get this twirling into action, your thinking brain, your prefrontal cortex. And then that's when your thoughts think, what's the logical thing to do here? Yeah, I saw a little, a 1 minute thing, or I think was it a tiger catching a little duck, or a chick or something. It was a sweet little thing. It was just, getting too close to the tiger, and the tiger started playing with it like a cat would. I never thought they did that. And then what did the duck do? Or the chick? It froze. It pretended it was dead. The whole body just went limp. And so the tiger played around with it and thought, what's happening here? And then it looked away, and as he looked away, the little chick got up and ran. So the emotions were shutting him down. The emotions were making his body go limp. He couldn't do anything. It wasn't a premeditated thing he had to do. That's the instinct. The instinct are the emotions. The emotions take over. They take away the thought patterns. Okay, so what he did was freeze. He couldn't fight. He couldn't run away at that moment. But as soon as the tiger looked away and his heart started thumping away properly and his emotions started to calm down, his body then got into action and moved. It's very much like a human being. Now, I'm telling you this because of late I've been putting comments on people's YouTube channel because they've all been pretending they're all psychologists, and they're not. They just do it from their own experiences or from what people have told them, their friends, their family, and they've witnessed them and they think, oh, I would deal with it like this. They don't say, I would deal with it. They say, why don't you do this? And it irritates the hell out of people. I'm not saying I'm Miss Perfect. I've had years and years and years of training and years and years and years of experience. I'm 60 now. And while I don't think of that as a big age, I think of it as enough of an age to have the experience to deal with these things because of all the life experience I've had, and it has been very varied. And I'm grateful for it, but saddened too, because I wish I had had another life, another route I'd taken. But, you know, it's just the way you deal with things, isn't it, in the moment? And the roller coaster of life, isn't it? And the training, it's the constant reading, watching videos, listening to teachers, tutors, professors, doing the research yourself, reading loads and loads of books, going to libraries, looking on Kindle or getting books yourself. And it's not cheap either. I think I've spent thousands of pounds doing all this. And it does insult me when people who haven't been trained come up and say that they can heal you. And I call them charlatans because they haven't been trained properly. And I know, maybe I'm standing on my high horse, but I've got a whole host of tools in my little psychology box, which definitely helps them. I've seen these hands heal. And maybe I'm blowing my trumpet, but I want to help. This has been my calling. That's gone cold. But what I'm going to do now is just snip half of this out, because I've gone over an hour, and then I'll try and upload it, because I've got loads of things to upload. Got loads. I don't know how to keep up with it all. And I know you'll find them interesting, because I've got half that course to, you know, finish off. The one with Funky Prepper. But right now, I'm just gonna, put some more water in it. Yes, nice. So I'll say bye bye for now, and catch you again soon. And keep rolling those videos up because they keep me entertained. Okay, bye. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks, bye.